Hello. So today I have with me a special guest. Her name is Corinne. She is a Bitcoin and crypto educator and financial astrologer. So we're going to be diving into all things Bitcoin and astrology. And we have a very interesting transit coming up here in February related to Saturn. So do you want to introduce that, Corinne?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So excited to be here. Thank you so much. I love collabing with you and looking at this stuff together and masterminding. So I am seeing on the 15th of February, we have Saturn that's coming back and being conjunct Bitcoin's natal Uranus. And that means that it's also opposing the natal Saturn of Bitcoin. And we don't love that. I always use Saturn in financial astrology as kind of like that support resistance zone. And you can really see how we had back in June, July, through to around the 5th of August in 2024, when we had that drop, a significant drop on the 5th of August, 2024. That was the exact same thing that was happening around that time too. So, and I might quickly share my screen here to show just that period of time that I have highlighted here as well. Share
Okay.
it
Here we go.
there. So this was, if we go back to March 2024, we had that new all-time high around that time. We were so excited. There was a lot of euphoria. We had Bitcoin go over 70K. And then this period of time here, all the way through to this was that 5th of August. We just had a Saturn in the exact same spot that it's coming back to. And we were just kind of bouncing. Like this was a ping pong play before we then finally took off and went to higher grounds with Bitcoin. So that's already kind of the repeat of what I'm feeling is about to happen. Mixed with all the Pisces and water energies that we have going on at the moment. Is there anything else
Yeah.
you'd add to that one in particular?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So we had two passes of Saturn conjunct the Bitcoin Uranus. Let me bring up a visual here. Let me find it. So yeah, for some reason, there it is. Okay. Here's a visual. So this is, well, actually, that's the wrong one. Okay, here, this one. So you see Saturn conjuncting the Bitcoin Uranus. The planet on the outside in the green circle is where Saturn is in the sky, and then on the inner circle is Bitcoin. I just simplified it to just two of the planets, Saturn and Uranus. So they were there at 19 degrees. And in 2024, like you're saying, Saturn ingressed into, or it conjuncted the Bitcoin Uranus exactly, I believe, June, and then it retrograded. So then it conjuncted it a second time over that summer. And like you showed, Bitcoin was stuck in a range there for months.
Yeah, and it
And
was really
doesn't,
shaking people out.
yeah, shaking people out. And doesn't it have a kind of a similar feel right now, kind of where, like you said, we got that euphoria last year in March, and then everybody was thinking we were going to go higher in the summer, like, oh, altcoin run, here we come. And then we just got stuck in a range, and it was just like pretty brutal. Um,
Yeah, and it really feels like that right now too.
it feels
Everyone,
so similar, like almost the exact same.
everyone's, yeah, just really stagnant. Everyone's kind of like, when moon, but moon ain't coming. We just had a significant drop yesterday as the day that we're recording this. So we did
Hmm.
have Bitcoin come back down to 91K within not even 24 hours. We were back over 100K, but it definitely is shaking people out.
It's been the weirdest turn of events. Just crazy dump and then major pump. Yeah.
Yeah.
So crazy,
Yeah.
especially for the altcoins. Bitcoin's not so bad. Altcoins have been getting wrecked.
Yeah, we have some altcoins that from December are down 80, 90%. So, and I think that this is also a really great time to kind of just touch on also the importance of really choosing altcoins, I think, in this run. Because as we've already seen, not every single altcoin has really been running, if
Oh
even at
my gosh.
all. let alone going and re-seeing all-time highs of a lot of altcoins. So there's a lot of new altcoins at play. That means that, of course, all the volume, the liquidity is being spread out across a lot of different cryptocurrencies. And so I think more than ever, the importance of selecting your coins.
Yeah, and it's really strange how, like you're saying, some of the coins have gotten what 80 to 90% dumps, which is like bear market sort of vibes. That's like bear
Mhm.
market type price behavior. And then
Yeah.
simultaneously, there's other coins. I guess you could say XRP. Solana's kind of stalled out. What other coins are doing real? Sui, I guess.
Sui.
Just like a
Yeah.
handful are, I guess, potentially holding up the whole market in some ways. Um, which is also happening on a macro scale to a large degree, where just a few tech companies are holding up the entire market, basically.
Yeah.
Where like NVIDIA, basically, and what the big five, like Google, Amazon, Facebook, those kind of companies. But then a lot of other companies are getting smashed. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, interesting economic times we're in. We could be heading into a bubble and a bubble pop here at some point. I
Yeah.
I would be guessing more like 2026, 2027, but like who knows? It could come early too. Um,
Yeah. I think last time we recorded and did a session together, we were looking at the North nodes and that macro 18.7 year cycle.
oh yeah,
And that's when we were talking about, the 2026 really being when potentially we see a bit more of that crash. I don't know. We have
right.
a lot of the Pisces, a lot of outer planets that are in Pisces. And then also, with Mars right now going through Cancer. And then on top of that, it's retrograde in Cancer. And of course, Mars, I kind of uses the volume that flows into assets. So, such as like volume flowing into crypto. And Mars doesn't really do well in Cancer because Mars is like war, aggression, fire, passion. And Cancer is a lot more like flow and water and like deep. And so already Mars doesn't really do well in that. And we have that. Mars is in retrograde at least until the 23rd of February. And then I think that it's
Yeah.
not coming out of Cancer until April. So
Yeah, wow, long time.
it's a
Yeah.
long time. And then we have all these outer planets occurring right now in Pisces, which definitely
Yeah.
adds to not just to the slowdown, but I think also this confusion,
Yeah.
this illusion, delusion, and just not like murky waters. Like things are just not clear right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely been feeling very confusing, especially the last 24 hours where crypto literally fell off a cliff and then it just rebounds like crazy overnight. Literally while I'm sleeping, it starts rebounding and then I wake up. Luckily, I woke up and checked my phone and I actually bought back into the market last night
Good.
because we got some good news with Trump pausing the tariffs, and then the ISM, the business cycle chart, just poked above 50, which could be very bullish and is very bullish. And I think that's part of the reason we're getting this big pump right now. Who knows how long that's going to last? But for so far for February, I think in my opinion, I think February is leaning positive now, but at the same time, I mean, we got this Mars in Cancer, like you're saying, that's not great. And then we have this Saturn that's going to conjunct the Bitcoin Uranus, which could keep Bitcoin stuck in a range. Um, but the best case scenario is, should I even say it? Could we get an altcoin run? Can we get an altcoin run? Anybody? um, People have been trying to predict the altcoin run for years now, and it's still just as hard. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, we have Saturn in Pisces, we have Neptune in Pisces, we have the North Node in Pisces, Venus in Pisces. Now Venus is going to switch into Aries here tomorrow. It looks like. Um, that's yeah,
Good
that should be
news.
really interesting. And look at what else happens as we get Jupiter stationing direct. Hey,
Finally.
which I've studied deep into the Bitcoin history. Every single time Jupiter um, goes direct, typically we see a major market shift. So, which direction? Well, really interesting. It looks like it's in the positive direction, at least today. We're getting a nice pump. So, could this Jupiter ingress? I mean, sorry, this Jupiter going direct be a big positive swing here for crypto?
Yeah, I do feel that for the rest of or not even the rest of February. My head's already at like after the 15th. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe between now and the 15th, we could get this kind of nice little pump,
Yeah, good point.
bring spirits up. You know, I know that you and I had also like discussed how during this time, you know, we have big governments like the US government coming in and talking about potentially a strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. And it's like, you know, or sorry, they've already created the bill and they're talking about it, you know, becoming a reality, which means the US government buying Bitcoin. Let's be real. Is the US government going to be buying Bitcoin over 100K near at all-time highs? I just don't know. I feel like that
Mm,
kind of fills into like the Pisces, you know, kind of like that illusion, delusion that gets created, and a little bit of like
yeah.
the like manipulation as well, of manipulating the markets and having things, you know, go up, get everybody excited, everyone's buying back in again. And then as we approach that 15th of February, I don't know if we already want to go there, but even on the 28th of Feb, having both Neptune and the North Node conjunct in Pisces, I don't know how
Mm,
pretty that is either. Sorry, guys. I hate to
yeah.
be like the bearer of bad news, you know?
Hey, we value honesty here, so we try to be as honest as possible with what we're
There we
seeing
go.
in the charts. But
Always.
man, look at how stacked Pisces gets at the end of February. Oh wow, we have the
Mm-hmm.
sun, the moon, Saturn, and Mercury, and Neptune, and the North Node.
Everything's there. Everything's
Oh
coming in
wow.
together. Yep.
Yikes. So there could be a lot of confusion, a lot of delusion going on for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. And then we have Saturn. Oh, we have Saturn already conjunct Bitcoin Uranus, but then yeah, here's the big thing is Saturn is going to oppose the Bitcoin Saturn on that's in March, around March 8th, it looks like. March 9th. Yeah, about March 9th, March 10th. Saturn is going to be opposing the Bitcoin Saturn. That doesn't look so good.
No.
And then
I
on
think
top of that, we
that's
have Venus retrograding too. Yeah.
and I think Venus then retrogrades back over that
Oh,
North
yeah.
Node Neptune
Oh,
conjunction. Yeah.
yeah. It retrogrades over Mercury, then it goes over. Look, it's going to go over the Bitcoin moon, it looks like. Yeah, so it's going
Yeah.
to retrograde right over the Bitcoin moon, Mercury retrograde. Oh man. So yeah, the last Venus retrograde we had was I remember it. It was August of 2023. Markets
Mm.
stalled out for a bit and Bitcoin got stuck in a range. We got a nice dump. And then we had Mercury retrograde and that actually dumped. I remember exactly, yeah, what was going on then. And then the time before that was at the very end of 2021, when people thought we were going to the moon, and then that was the start of the bear market. So
Hmm.
yay, Venus retrograde.
Ooh,
Not so
that
much.
sounds a little, yeah, it's
Brutal.
not looking super pretty. Not looking super pretty right now. I mean, if you have a 2030 vision, this could be really, really great because more buying opportunities. But in the short term, it's not looking so good. Um, Before
Hmm.
we, 'cause I know we're getting closer to March and talking about March. And of course, we've got some fun eclipses coming up in March.
Yeah.
Before we dive into that, seeing as we're already talking about Neptune, I don't have the exact date on here. I probably have it here on my chart, But we have Neptune then as it finishes up on that 29th degree of Pisces, it's going to shift on over to Aries. So actually, I
Mhm.
have that written for March 30th.
Yeah.
Um, Neptune moving into Aries. So that's a little past the eclipses. Um,
Yep.
and
Right
I
after
have
the
that,
eclipses.
right. I have that Neptune is historically a really great sign for hyperinflation coming in.
Mm.
Now, when I say that, I'm like, well, that's really great for assets. It should be,
Hmm.
right? Because if we have hyperinflation of our fiat currencies, that means that they're losing purchasing power while assets get stronger. But it's when I start to look at the astrology around that, because of course we need to layer in the different things that are occurring. It's the other astrology that makes me think like, what if, and I don't know if you've heard this before, how Saturn and Neptune together, when they're conjunct, that's actually a sign for deflation.
Mm.
And that's coming up fast too. So, um,
They don't
the,
get an exact conjunction until next year, though. That's the interesting thing,
they
right?
don't?
They just get in orb this year. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Let's see, because I'll do
check that.
you can do it on my software here. So we go Neptune conjunct Saturn. Yeah, February 21st next year.
Cool. So that's good.
They get really close, but they don't get exact this year.
Perfect. Yeah. So that could be a silver lining. Maybe Neptune and Aries will bring that hyperinflation in. I mean, we're already
Right.
hearing of the money printers coming up.
Hmm.
So yeah.
And if you think about, yeah, Neptune going into Aries, and Aries is a much more aggressive fire sign, you know, and it's also about starting things, and like kind of like authority coming in and making decisions, perhaps. Perhaps, you know, the Fed or the whoever pulls the strings in the financial market could come up with more aggressive, like quantitative easing, perhaps.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
or maybe something we've never seen before. Like after 2008, I don't think we had really seen quantitative easing before,
2000.
perhaps. And so they could even create something new that we, you know, that we haven't seen yet.
Exactly.
But it could be related to, I mean, the best case scenario, quantitative easing, money printer go burr, and then crypto goes up. So
Exactly.
that would be the most bullish case scenario. But like we talked about before we got on today, is there's also some concerning astrology at the same time. So
Yeah, let's
it's
dive
scary.
into that.
Well, there's a lot going on. I mean, you mentioned Mars retrograde is going to go direct. Mars is out of bounds from December through April, I believe. And that's a concern. So that could lead to, you know, escalations, you know, with war and things like that. I don't, why I certainly don't want that. And I'm praying that we don't get more of that. But there's definitely concerns with that. I also watched an astrology update video for this year, and apparently Mars is hitting a lot of important areas in the charts of, I believe, Russia, China, NATO, Iran, and all these kind of significant countries. Taiwan. So it's like that's not looking so good. So
No.
we certainly could see some major world events related to these countries. Yeah, perhaps major volatility in the markets, like we've already seen. We've already seen in the last 24 hours. You know, tariffs from Trump, tariff wars, financial wars. So I'm almost considering, I'm seriously considering, I'm probably going to do this, is probably selling most of my bags this month, honestly. Um, and maybe just waiting for another big dump at some point, you know, another big scary
Yeah.
correction, and then
Yeah.
maybe considering investing then. But even then, I mean, yeah, this year just looks extremely volatile.
It does. And I guess that's where also, the reality is, I mean, I don't know about you, Jack, but I don't have billions of dollars, so I'm not an institution and I'm a
Right.
retail trader, right? So
Yeah.
as retail traders, I always think about what is it that we can do, is that all we can do is follow what big money is doing as well and look at that as well as signs of what are they doing so we can prepare accordingly. One
Hmm.
thing that I actually brought up in my last stream was Warren Buffett. And I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but Warren Buffett, and for those that don't know Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all
Yeah.
time, whether we like him or not, the reality is that he's good at trading and investing. And he currently has like billions of dollars, I think over like $300 billion, if I'm not mistaken, in like cash.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
he's moved a lot of money into treasury bills, so much so that he has more treasury bill positions right now than the Federal Reserve itself. So that is very much like a risk off approach. For also those that are involved in things like the stock market, he's really like stacking up his cash and just getting ready for something.
Mm.
Um, and I don't think he's just doing that for no reason.
Just for fun.
Yeah,
Just
just
for
for
fun.
fun. Let's manipulate the market a bit and freak everybody
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Now, from what I've heard is like these big money, they move a lot slower than like retail trading, you know? So I mean, yeah, that is a good point. And it's like he might be preparing for something later down the road. I'm not sure if it's this year. I mean, it certainly could be this year. We'll
Yeah.
see. But it
Very
also could be like 2026 or 2027. Sometimes they need to prepare years in advance, you know? That's
exactly.
possible.
For tax reasons as well. I know that's a big one. Normally, like the 1 year thing
Oh,
definitely is.
yeah.
So that could be a signal there too, of all right, we got 1 year's time, guys, before something happens.
Yeah.
Before I forget, because you did mention about Mars being out of bounds and hitting,
Hmm.
those countries there. Um, I can't find the image anymore, but I do remember how there's like X's over the Black Cross that occurs over particular countries when it comes to eclipses. So the past eclipse
Mm.
cycles have been occurring over the US, and the last one, which was April 2024, was
Yeah.
kind of like that last eclipse that occurred over the US. And the next point of interest for the eclipses is starting to occur over the UK and then also over the Middle East. So the next eclipse rounds is where the attention is being drawn to those places as it has been in the past years in the US. So not sure if there's a connect there as well in terms of geography. And I mean, that's a whole astrocartography, which I haven't dived too far into, but that kind of clicked to
Yeah.
connect those two things too.
Interesting. Well, yeah, let's
Yeah.
dive into the eclipses more. Yeah. So here is
Yeah.
my chart that I've done custom made. Some people are like, "What? Can I get that indicator?" I'm like, "No, I don't have it. I did this myself."
I'm the same as well. On my astrology chart, we're gonna have to figure out and create some astro indicators for everyone.
Ah, that's true. That's true. So I went into the history books, and so the blue lines that I marked here represent the total lunar eclipses, not just any lunar eclipse, but the total lunar eclipse. And then the red and the kind of orange represent the total solar or annular eclipses, and total solar and annular eclipses are very, very similar. So just kind of look at the more red colors there. Um, take a look at the trends here with Bitcoin. Is typically almost every single time we get a bull run with the total solar eclipses. And then just about every single time we get a dump and or a bear market with the blue lines, the total lunar eclipses. I mean,
Oh,
time and time again, let's look at 2021. So I mean, this is kind of similar to what we're doing. So we had a bunch of total solar eclipses. Let me clean up this. Let me remove the yellow layer. Yeah, so we got these red lines. leading into a bull market. We got a huge pump, 2021. And then we got this blue line, the total solar eclipse, and Bitcoin dumped before. Emphasis on before. It dumped hard before the total lunar eclipse. Now we have a total lunar eclipse coming up on March 14th. And if history repeats, I'll show you another instance. We're not just going to look at one instance. Let's look at what happened in the 2017 blow off top. Look at this. We get all these red lines during the bull market. And then we get the blue lines here, which marked exactly the bear market. And we bottomed out before heading up. So what happened at this blow off top is Bitcoin already peaked well before this total lunar eclipse. Let's look exactly how much time. That was about 44 days. So it peaked 44 days before. We're arguably sitting in that area about right now. Pretty close to that.
I mean, eclipse effects start to kick in approximately 6 weeks before. I know normally it's like 42 days, whatever amount of weeks that is. 42 divided by 7. Someone who's better at math than me could do that. So however many weeks, but I know 42 days before.
Yeah, that's about 6 weeks, yeah.
It is 6, yeah. So 42 days before is when the eclipse effects start to kick in. I use it all the time for myself personally because I'm like, all right, 42 days out of an eclipse, if something already starts happening, if things start coming to light, you know that that's the eclipse effects coming through. So I wonder what 42 days from this next eclipse.
Yeah, we could do that. But I mean, 2021, it was a bit less. We should also count that. Let's see. Oh, actually, wait, let's see. If we actually, wow, that's interesting. If we take it from the actual, look at that, 42 days. If we take it from the actual peak. Now we did get a lower high here, which was kind of a peak, but it was a lower high.
So
look at that, 42 days.
I just did from the last, the upcoming 14th of March eclipse. 42 days prior to that was smack bang on that new moon in Aquarius that we just had.
Oh.
So we're in it.
Wow. Yep. So where were we at that day? Wow, we were around what price is that? Around that new moon. Around 106. Pretty close to the peak there.
Yep.
Whoa. So basically, all honesty, that could have been the pretty close to the peak there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe Trump coming into office really was buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. With that huge Solana pump that we got and on the Trump coin. Wow.
My gosh, that was wild. That was Neptune all over. I was like, this is such like Pythian Neptune energy. Like what? Like it just did not seem like reality. What happened with Trump coin? I was like, is this seriously our world today?
So weird.
What?
It just pumped like crazy. I had people coming out of the woodworks asking me if they should buy Trump coin on that day. I'm just like, what?
We saw it at $12 and I was like, nah, no way.
Yeah.
And then it went all the way up. I was like, damn it, I should have just chucked a little bit in there.
You're like, is this a joke?
Oh boy. I think we're going to be having a lot of those moments in the next 18 months.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we can even look back here at 2014. You see we did get some blue and red lines, but you see these are 4 blue lines. So we had more total lunar eclipses, and that was the bear market there. And Bitcoin Bitcoin peaked about 137 days before the total lunar eclipse. So it seems like each bull run we get closer and closer. The peak gets closer and closer to that total lunar eclipse in some ways, but like we saw, 42 days, 44 days was pretty close the last two bull runs.
Yeah, definitely tightening up. I feel all around, even just from even the Bitcoin halving, you know, we're just seeing less and less time as we go through the cycles. It's as if things are speeding up and going faster and faster.
Yeah. So that's why I am very concerned about March. That's the main reason
Okay.
right there.
Me
And then you
too.
just add Venus retrograde on top of that, and then you add a Mercury retrograde on top of that, and then it's like, whoa, this is really concerning.
Yeah, it really is. The only positive thing I saw there is
If you want to
Neptune.
share, you can share.
Yeah, sure. Let me get it up for the 15th. I just kind of had it in my notes that, but I'll get a transit up.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually, and I might just share my screen while I do this for
Yeah.
educational purposes.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody that's like newer, and maybe like doesn't like buy like softwares and things like that, I use AstroSeek because it's free and I love to teach on it so people can like duplicate it. And so we have it, what is it, the 14th, right, of March. I'll just put it at whatever time.
Yeah.
So the only positive thing that I was seeing here was Neptune is sextile the natal Jupiter of Bitcoin, which I
Yeah.
liked. And that I was like, that one's like quite positive, you know, especially because it is happening at 29 degrees. So that is a critical degree, and we could see a significant something there. However, you know, when we then go and look at everything else and layering it on, that's where I'm like, okay, could there be this upside movement? I just don't see it. Like I share this to share that I'm really trying to see it. I'm really trying to look for also like positive
Yeah.
aspects, truly, because I think we all
Yeah.
are like waiting for the alt run, but I'm just really not seeing it there. So I don't like
Yeah.
that one. I don't know if you have anything else to add on the 14th of March eclipse, that lunar eclipse, or
Well, I just noticed there's also
yeah.
Saturn opposing the lunar eclipse,
Oh, the direct
um,
opposing.
which does not look good, right?
No, I'm just getting it up here
That's
myself.
concerning,
Yeah,
major concern.
it is. It's
So,
right there.
isn't
Yeah.
that crazy? That's even makes it even worse if it wasn't already.
Wow.
Um,
Oh yeah, scrap anything positive I said. Sorry, guys. That canceled it out
well, I
completely.
mean that was a slight positive that you mentioned,
No,
but then there's so many
absolutely.
negatives that it's like, whoa, I don't see
Yeah.
the negatives seem to be outweighing the positive, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then we get the, unless you have more to add, then we get the solar eclipse in Aries, which is kind of concerning.
Exactly. I think more so that one as well. And I can
Yeah.
share that screen here as well. Sometimes I like to go to the aspect tables. I just feel like I can see the
Yeah.
transits a little bit better. So I'm not
Yep.
sure if your channel's used to seeing them like this, but with this, I mean, it's kind of interesting because, you know, we still have there that Neptune that does have the sextile with natal Jupiter. But you've got, and I mean, these are still positive aspects with Mercury and Venus that are retrograding and they're going there over. I mean, they're not exact hits 100%, but they
Hmm.
are there with a positive transit with natal Jupiter. But then you just go and look at all the other negative squares, especially with Pluto, which is so important for finances for Bitcoin. So we have them going over there. I don't think I have the exact time here, but I
Okay.
had in my notes, I had in my notes as well that the eclipse was hitting Jupiter and Pluto for Bitcoin. I don't know if I have the right date there, or I'm mixing something up.
Oh, on the
Um,
Bitcoin chart.
yeah. Do you have it there on maybe we can see it here
So you want to look at
actually.
Jupiter? You said Jupiter and Pluto?
Yeah, Bitcoin's natal Jupiter and Pluto. Maybe it's not showing here.
On the
I'm
day of the solar eclipse?
Yeah, I had here in my notes that it's happening in between Jupiter and Pluto. Um, and I had money themes with that
Hmm.
Jupiter. Oh, you know why I'm getting confused here? It's got to do with the overall and how it creates. I don't have the chart up here because it's on the Astrogold on my other computer. But essentially,
Hmm.
what it's doing, it's crossing over direct with the overall Jupiter and Pluto, and that's really big money themes and transformational themes that are occurring with this eclipse. So it's
Hmm.
creating that cross. Um, and I had
Hmm.
here in my notes as well that maybe around this time could be the big transformation and a push towards CBDCs. I should have gotten that prepared. I
Hmm.
don't have it on me.
But Trump said he's against CBDCs, so that's the
What about the
positive.
rest of the world?
Oh, the rest of the world. Ooh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Like
Because I
Europe
also
and
wonder with
mm,
Russia and
yeah.
China and like where all of these other focus points are happening. Obviously, there's a lot of money in the US, and that does drive a lot of the overall crypto market. But then when we start thinking about China, Russia, I think I just read today that Russia is imposing. I think people need to like if they're crypto mining, they have to be like registered or something like that. So there's a little bit of movement happening there as well. And I know that a lot of mining companies host and have their miners physically in Russia because power can be a lot cheaper over there.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I do think this is a very volatile, potentially very revolutionary year with Pluto in Aquarius. Um, now for
yeah,
the next what 20 years or so. Um, and I think it'll have a lot of themes somewhat related to um, rhyming of the U.S. Pluto return, right? When it was
right.
the U.S. like the U.S. Constitution. Um, Now, but this time it might be the whole world though, because where what are kind of the centralized powers these days? Well, arguably it's the globalists. Arguably these certain groups or entities that are trying to centralize the power of the world and try to you can come up with you can
Seriously.
talk about all the conspiracy theories. Um, I don't call
Oh,
them theories because there's a lot of proof that it's not just a theory. Oh,
oh, you just go and watch the last World Economic Forum. Sorry, YouTube, please don't
yeah.
censor us.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
like you just go and watch their last talks and what they're talking about.
Oh, you
Shared
watched it?
cars, just like bits and bobs of it. I did watch when
Yeah.
Trump was streamed onto there. He didn't
Yeah,
physically
that
go, but
was
I definitely watched that. And
wasn't
I mean,
that something? He's
that
like
was cool.
he's like standing up to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
when they're talking about sharing house, the whole quote, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Right.
And it just blows my mind where it's like, and maybe this is again like this whole like, I just can't believe that this is reality
Yeah,
where nobody even voted these people in.
exactly.
Like this is just a group of
Nobody.
private people that got together and chose, hey, we're rich and we're just going to start dictating the things that happen around the world.
Exactly. So with a lot of this revolutionary energy coming through with Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius especially, yeah, I think there could be a big uprising. We're already seeing it. We're already seeing a big uprising of the people. You
Sure.
know, so many of these videos are going viral that are calling out these globalists, and yeah, really speaking the truth, and yeah, and the people are waking up.
They
And
really are.
so maybe that is the revolution that's happening now, where globally people are becoming more aware of these subtle, not so subtle powers that are slowly trying to take their freedoms away, or quickly trying to take their
Seriously.
freedoms away. And yeah, standing up to it. And a lot of
Yeah.
that might have to do with, I mean, if they do try to do these CBDCs, then I think that would even spur an even greater awakening, because I don't think people want any of that for the most part.
No, and that's what I've kind of like continued feeling into this whole like splitting of worlds, like I really see where, and it's the yin and yang, it's the dark and the light, and just seeing how I believe a part of the world's going to go more towards a decentralized way. A lot of then the world is going to choose to continue down the centralized way with CBDCs and beyond. Um, and that's kind of also like the light versus the dark. Like, do you choose to like become empowered and self-sovereign, or do you choose to go towards the darkness and stay in fear, and under control? So I see this very big like splitting occurring.
Yeah.
And this year a lot faster. A lot.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, this is the year when things really speed up, with the outer planets going into fire and air signs. Yeah. With Pluto's already done it, then Neptune, and then Uranus.
Yeah. Saturn as well. At
Yeah.
some point, we'll be moving on over into Aries. I think that's already then
Oh, and
in
Jupiter's
May.
in Gemini. Yeah. So, man,
Yep. So we've got some big shifts.
this is going to be a
I
wild year.
It really is. And I keep thinking as well, like I dive into a little bit of numerology as well. And this year is the year number 9. And number 9 is the year of finishing circles, concluding things.
Mm.
It's the year of completion. And then next year is going to be year number 1. So we start things off again.
Oh, yeah.
Number 9 is also very much about needing to be adaptable. Like if you're a life path number 9, you can adapt to anything and everything, and you can thrive to anything that you put your mind to. And so that's very much this year too, like just getting ready to adapt to anything that comes our way.
Yeah, that resonates a lot for sure. Man.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think
So
there's gonna be a lot of twists and turns this year. So we have got, yeah, definitely do our best to be as adaptable as possible.
yeah,
And roll with
100%.
the punches, roll with the changes. Yeah. Don't
Got to
resist it. Embrace it as best as you can.
stay in that flow.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you have anything else. I have
Any
maybe
final things?
generally,
I think we're about ready to
yeah.
wrap it up.
Yeah. I think, obviously when we really look at like, as we approach halfway through the year, and I know we keep mentioning like Uranus shifting as well, which is going to be a big one.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen June, July. So in June, we're going to have it at 29 degrees Taurus. And then in July, we're officially moving into there. I guess maybe the final thoughts around that is as we're going through these major transformations, in the world, in our lives, because a lot is changing at every layer. I mean, even in the spiritual space right now, things are shifting very quickly. The veil is the unveiling, and things are just so thin. Like the bridge between different realities is just
Hmm.
so thin right now. Um,
Hmm.
as we do shift into this Uranus and Gemini, I really think about like where is crypto really going? And these larger entities, what do they want for crypto, and what don't they want for crypto? And then it's funny because we're obviously always looking at like, okay, where is this institutional money going? Where is the big money going? Like, where are they shifting to? And us as retail traders
Hmm.
following the money. But I think sometimes we forget that Bitcoin actually really gives us the opportunity to remember that we, the people, have the power, and that if people maybe got more of that message, we would realize that even our smaller amounts of money can actually equate to much bigger changes. So maybe during this time as well, like I personally am doing this for myself, and I always invite everybody to really look at, like, what are you investing in? Like, are you just getting into a crypto project because you think it's going to go to the moon and you think you're going to, you know, become a millionaire overnight or whatever it may be? Or are you really like stepping into the energy of that coin, the utility of that coin, what's behind it? And do you stand for that? Because money really is energy. So where is it that you're investing your energy, and what are you pushing? Which change is it that you're pushing towards? Does that make sense?
Yeah, like vote with your wallet, basically. And also, yeah, invest in what you believe in to spread more of that energy and to support and uplift that energy. Like Bitcoin represents decentralization. So if that's what you vote for, then vote with your wallet, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think yeah, Pluto and Aquarius represents, you know, a decentralized future where it's power to the people. Um, Often brings a revolution of some sort, where people are
Interesting.
wanting more freedom and to yeah, live more communal type lives where we share resources together. And um, yeah, that's the future I'm most excited about.
Yeah, and that's the future that sounds like a great future versus the
Yeah,
communal sharing of things, but in a very centralized, authoritarian way. And that's where like AI comes into play. Are we going to be using that in a higher expression of Aquarius or a lower expression of Aquarius? And I think Uranus and Gemini is going to give us a preview.
yeah, yeah. And it's probably going to be both. And it's which adventure do you choose? Choose your own
Yeah,
adventure. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Which world are you choosing to live in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been great having you on. I think
Thank you.
we covered a lot.
We
And
did. We did. And more to come.
yeah. All right. Thanks a lot for coming
Thank
on.
you so much. Thank you.